p.m. and I hereby close the executive session of the Freeport Economic Development Corporation and do hereby reconvene the regular open session and take possible action on items mentioned in the executive session. There was no action to be taken in executive session, so we're going to move on to our discussion and action items. And we're actually going to we're going to start with number 5, which is discuss and take possible action on a business improvement grant for Sit and Bull.
Yes, Mr. President, tonight we have the owners of Sit and Bull here that did their grant. They have had damage to their building due to the storm. And you may come up to the mic and talk to the board. Thank you.
Hi.
Good evening.
We lost our whole roof, and
Can you pull the mic up a little bit?
Sorry. We lost the whole roof on the building, and we went through FEMA, which sent us to SBA. We filled out paperwork. We've tried, we're trying to do everything that we can to do it. In the meantime, we have no roof on the building, so every time it rains, the whole inside of the building is getting destroyed.
Wow.
And we've not heard anything from SBA. We've not heard anything from FEMA. We've not, we can't move forward until something comes up. So I'd heard about them, and I was like, well, I've tried everything else. Let me try there.
Well, thank you for explaining that.
And just if I could interject, they came as requested. I told her we're in a different era or whatever you call it right now, due to the storm and what we're trying to do. I explained to her the limited funds that we have for this year, and then we have funds for next year. So far, we have $51,000. I would remind the board that we have 4 corners that we have been looking at. Now, having discussed 4 corners, he called me at 5:15 tonight and said he could not make it, which is unfortunate because there are a lot of questions that I'm not prepared to answer, and I thought he'd be able to answer. So I just want to remind the board that for the rest of the fiscal year, which means October 1st, we have $51,266 left on this grant program. And then, as you recall, we doubled the amount for next year. Now, if the board wants to proceed, because Four Corners is not represented here tonight, we can look at this grant and then move to the Four Corners grant. But this one is a good project. They'd be eligible under the rules of the grant for a $10,000 reimbursement because it's the roof, correct, that they're fixing.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. And did anyone, oh, sorry. You had a question, Ken? Go ahead.
I take it 100% you didn't have any insurance on
I
that
did not
building.
have insurance, and then after having the roofers up there inspecting, I don't think I would have been able to get it anyways, but I was telling him that the building's been there since the early 70s, and through the lease agreement, the owner had agreed, well, it's stood there for, since the 70s, and it's never been damaged, so we'll only require you to carry this, just fire insurance. And then, of course, this one blows through and just decimated everything. But we will have it after this, I promise.
And the majority of your business is strictly alcohol.
Yes, we are a bar.
And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I don't know. I started to say it. I don't know if I said it, but they have, as the board requested, we wanted this to be a point of last stop. They have visited FEMA, they visited SBA, they visited their bank, et cetera. And that's all documented in the grant application also.
A couple of questions. When you went to SBA, did you have to show them any financials?
Oh, I had to show them everything. They wanted,
They want your firstborn and everything
yes.
else, yes.
We had to send them all the pictures. We sent videos. They asked all for the financial disclosure, about who I'm buying it from, how much the building's worth, how much, they went through everything. But from what I can gather, the people that I know have filed for SBA have not heard anything either. So I don't know how long of a process it takes, you know, as far as, I've heard it could be anywhere from 30 to 90 days, so.
Okay.
Yeah, they ask you everything, they want.
And you've gone to, what financial institutions have you gone to?
Well, the owner that I'm buying from has offered to pay part of it and roll it over into a loan for me. He was gonna take it out of his retirement and just kind of tack it onto the lease that we have, but it still doesn't cover, you know, he was gonna give 40,000, the roof was 52, so I'm still $12,000 short any way I look at it, so.
Who's gonna do the roof?
Oh, okay.
I think Bradley Construction.
Yes, Bradley Construction, yep.
Yes.
Oh,
Bradley
it's up on-
Construction? Okay, okay.
Yes.
Oh, I just got to it.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, Robert, just to clarify, our limit here is 10,000, correct?
Yes, they
Okay.
qualify unless, again, we're in different times, but
Oh,
the,
okay.
the grant, that they're asking for and in our grant, normal grant, it would qualify under one category, which is facade improvement.
Okay.
Which category?
Facade improvement.
Do you know whether this Michael Bradley has got his insurers and everything with the city?
Yes, he came in and he filed for his, I'm sorry. He's already came in and handed his paperwork over, he filed for permit. I think you guys, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so we got all its,
Yes.
that was mine.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, we did
Thank
all that, thank you.
There you see it up
You can
on
make
the.
a motion. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm good with it.
So we make the decision now, Robert?
You can, yes.
Okay. I make a decision to approve the grant up to the 10,000.
All right, so we have a
For-
motion to approve the grant. Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, motion to, Ronnie. Motion by Sandra, seconded by Ronnie. Is there any debate or discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed state nay.
Nay.
Motion passed, 5-1. All right, we're gonna go back to number 1, discuss and take possible action on ethics policy. And who?
Yes, Mr. Pre,
Oh, okay, sorry, Anna. Yeah, we can go ahead and let you go home too. Yeah, we'll do number
Miranda,
6 and we'll go back to
You can leave
1.
if you want. You're welcome to stay, but you can leave if you want. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch tomorrow. Okay.
Where are we? Which one is this? Number? Oh, number 2. Okay, here it is.
Ready? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. Anna Silbus, Main Street Coordinator. I'm here before you all tonight to seek an additional sponsorship for Kid Fest 2024. This is to utilize event communication services offered by Psycoustics LLC. Our event, Kid Fest, is set for September 7th, 2024 from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. in historic downtown. What this company offers services relatable to scalable wireless sound and improving event experiences. We've had some issues in the past where because of the stage setting, the sound carries just straight forward. And when we have vendors and activities spread out throughout the whole entire Memorial Park, that sound does not carry through. Of course, you can hear it, but it's just very muffled, it doesn't expand across that event coverage area. So with this, the estimate that was included in your packet, the services would cost $4,992.22. With that, if you look at the invoice. I don't know if you've already looked at it. It does come with wireless audio network, which they would integrate into the DJ's system that we will be having at Kid Fest. Additionally, they will have the service of the SciCubes, is what it's called. These will be placed strategically throughout Memorial Park to better enhance the sound. Additionally, we will also have the opportunity to have 5 custom audio messages to play throughout the event. So this could be, highlighting the Freeport Economic Development Corporation for being a major sponsor. You're the main event sponsor. You could be creative as far as how these messages are created. Their sound department will be the ones that are creating this. Additionally, it's just for overall improving the event and the overall experience for those who are in attendance for the event. As we mentioned, I do believe at our Cinco de Mayo event, we did have some issues with sound.
Yes.
That was regarding the wind and also the backing of the stage, but also carrying out further into the park area. So this is kind of like a pilot program. I know that Main Street is looking at seeing what events are going to be feasible throughout the year. We want to make sure that our events are, attracting individuals and that we're using our resources and our monies to the best of our ability. So if an event is not producing, we don't want to have that event. But we want to make sure that the events that we do have are a great experience for not only our residents, but for those that are coming. In Kid Fest, we typically do have a good crowd. This would be my second time hosting this event. So it's a larger crowd, and so just making sure it's an enjoyable experience for all those who are in attendance.
And this is something that you just began investigating. I was at the Cinco de Mayo, and this would be unidirectional. The Cinco de Mayo just broadcast out one way, and I remember it was kind of funny because Anna told me, you really need to stay and see the band, and I was there, and I couldn't hear them because I wasn't at the right part of the stage. I think that this could be termed a trial run for this. Would you agree?
I would say so. Like I mentioned, as far as Main Street, we are looking at what events are going to be best. And I know, especially Ronnie being on our board, he does have an idea for an event potentially next year, a larger scale event. So looking at that event, we want to make sure how can we improve the overall experience while ensuring, we're also working to have it also adheres to, making sure if there's any communication as far as emergency management or any, lost child, you can hear that. I know downtown's a smaller area, but it's just to make the overall event experience a better one for those in attendance. But I'll be happy to take any questions. Like Robert said, it is a trial, I guess you could say, to see if it works, and looking at how we can ensure that our events are to the best of our ability in planning those events. And if they're not being effective events, then looking at how we can cut back on those as well, but also making sure that the overall attendee experience is good.
So I want to make sure I understand that.
Yes,
So it's like an additional for sounding to be more
Yes.
experience. Okay, so, I know that's what if, but I'm assuming this is all outside, so if it rains, you can't have that outside.
No, we could
No.
not.
Do you have a plan B if it rains? I'm just asking.
If Plan B,
Hopefully, just.
hopefully, don't,
I'm not trying to jinx anything,
not
but
the
I'm
rain
just like.
gods. We don't want the
Okay.
rain gods. But at this moment, we do not. I know with the hurricane, we did kind of have to push it back. So I would just be kind of a scheduling thing to move it again. Hopefully, it doesn't rain. But looking at the schedule, if it does, we'd have to consider either postponing, and we don't want to cancel that either, because it's an investment from our community partners and the EDC as well.
Is that something that, just so you asked, just in case, so let's say you would have to postpone it and you do a contract with them, would they be open to moving the date? Or did they set with just that date? Does that make sense?
Yes, I would have to contact them. I I believe this estimate expires tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I
is
saw
the
that.
thing. So I mean, I could reach out to them
I'm just
and
curious.
ask. But I know, like with our vendors that we had for Kid Fest, and the date was August 3rd. They were willing because obviously they understood, you know, what we were going through in the hurricane.
Yeah.
So we were able to move those services to a new date.
Yeah, I was just curious, because you know how some vendors
Yes,
are.
ma'am.
They're
I
not
know.
as nice and lenient with changing dates.
Yes.
But, okay,
Could you put that in the contract with them, though?
Yeah, I can reach back
For-
out to them tomorrow, and then if it's something that you all approve and are in agreement with, then we can certainly get that worked in there.
Are there any other questions? All right, thank you. And are there any motions to be made? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I don't know, what was the amount?
The amount is
It's on your screen.
$4,992.22.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Can you repeat that?
$4,992.22.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And this is our last event of the fiscal year, so we are,
Of the fiscal year, did you say?
yes.
Could we make that motion like contingent on
Upon
her,
the-
like knowing that they would honor a schedule change if it had to happen?
We can, yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the 4,992.22 with adding, if possible, if there's something with a change of date, that they would still honor that in case, you know, we have rain or hurricane, I don't know,
We don't want
whatever.
another hurricane.
So it'd be nice to have that contingent on there.
I will second that.
All right, so we've got a motion, sorry. Motion by Sandra to approve the $4,992.22, contingent upon this company's
Psychoustics.
Psychoustics.
Yes.
I was trying to look for the name. Contingent upon Psychoustics agreeing to honor this agreement in the event of a possible date change, and that motion's been seconded by Ken. Is there any debate or discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we will go back to number 1. Discuss and take possible action on ethics policy.
Mr. President, Ronnie asked me to put this on. I'm in full agreement, but I'll kind of let him take the lead if you don't mind. And then I'd like for our attorney to chime in. We've had
Okay.
discussions I think would be valuable to apprise the board of after Ronnie speaks.
Sounds good.
So I know it's been a long night, but after seeing the video and the fact that we don't have an ethics policy, I think we need one for this board if we ever want anyone to build here, to show that we're cleaning up this mess that was left to us. And it just makes common sense. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't build here either, because you don't know who's gonna walk away and buy a piece of property where you're looking at building, because they heard it in this room. And I think we need to set the precedent for any board in Freeport and the city council, everyone. You have to adhere to certain things if you want people to get involved in the city. So I'm going to ask Robert to put this on there because I think it's something we need to talk to our attorneys about putting together.
And I would just chime in that this is not a first for the city, that the current Main Street Board is under an ethics, correct me if I'm wrong, Ronnie, but a code of conduct or ethics policy. And I'll give it to Laura.
My only comment are two, actually. It's a very good idea to set forward what you expect of the conduct of the board. I think that's important. It's commonly done. We've got city councils that have them. My only caveat to that is that there's not a lot of way to enforce them. if they don't. I mean, it does clearly establish what you think the guidelines should be, but they are difficult to enforce. So, you know, there's just, you can bring them out, but if it helps when everybody understands what your goals are. So.
So I'm guessing that any motion made tonight would just be to start creating an ethics policy? Is that what we, okay.
Direct either Robert or me.
Right.
To begin drafting it.
I was
Okay.
thinking we could work with legal on that. I'm sure they already have one drafted and ready
Yeah.
to go.
We could probably find something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to,
Do we even need to make a motion?
or actually, yeah, if it's just a directive. Okay, yeah. Well then, Lauren, if you can get, I guess, your people
I'll get with
on
Lauren
that
and
and,
work that out.
Okay.
And we'll have it at the next meeting.
okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 3. Discuss and take possible action on a new mowing contract. Now,
Mr. President, as you know, the city is currently mowing our lawns. We had, I'm sorry to revisit the past, but we had a problem with our last mower. We have sent that firm Grassmasters a letter of termination, and we're moving on. Now, tonight, we have one bid that was in the original bids that we took, which was Mr. Gardner Campbell's. And we had another mower come in, which is a higher bid, but we do apparently have experience with this gentleman in that they used to mow before Grassmasters took over, unless I'm mistaken. But I do know at one point he mowed. I did talk to, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, I also talked to David, who regrets his absence. He's still working with family in Louisiana. And he had said he had, and I'm not clear on any firm details, but he said he had ideas on other mowers that he wanted to reach out to. You know, obviously the issue is on the agenda tonight. The city is currently mowing for us. We're in a pinch, but that's at the pleasure of the board. I just wanted to make the board aware of that. And I may have said this, neither of the folks, they both called me today and could not make it.
I'll make a motion. Table this till the next meeting. My conversations with McGinney has always been that, he said he had 2 people in the wings. And so maybe we could wait till we get those bids further.
yeah, I don't have a problem with waiting. Do you know how much the city's charging us?
They're doing it as a favor
Oh,
right
okay.
now, yes.
I don't mind. Yeah, we can table it.
Can we make sure and try to have it on the next agenda?
Yes.
If you make a motion to table and it's approved, it has to go on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
for clarifying.
Oh, sorry, I went out of order, but Ken made a motion. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay, now we're debating, now we can talk. That was my only question, but, okay. Was there anything else? All right, all those in favor, state aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passed unanimously. And the Four Corners grant,
Yes, Mr. President, I'm pleased to say that the 2 of the board members and I, Ken Tyner and Mark, had discussions with Mr. Adnan Ali. I'm sad to report that at 5:15 tonight, I got a call from Mr. Ali stating he was in Houston and could not make the meeting tonight. And I felt it was important for him to be here because, you know, there were a lot of questions we had. Now, the 2 board members that met maybe can help me recall, but he did meet. We showed financials and other concerns that we had, and all that was discussed. And we also discussed a non-traditional type grant from the grant program because he represents well, I should say there's 14 businesses in the Four Corners establishment. And so we were kind of looking at, we're in uncharted territory again. They have sustained damage, but again, he's not here tonight to present his case. I don't know if Ken or Mark wants to say anything about about the meeting or concerns that they had.
So I have a question. So when you had the meeting, so did insurance kick in for any of this, or is just the difference?
He did have insurance, but the deductible was very high.
What was it?
80?
Yeah, was it 180?
180,000?
Ballpark, yeah, that was just a deductible.
That was 3%.
Oh, is this the roof?
And apparently, since that little meeting that we had, he has provided all of the documentation. Is that right, Robert? That we asked for, which is good. And I'm sure a lot of you here on the board have been asked many times, when is Arlen's gonna open up?
Everybody's asking.
Yeah. Now, he did say, Robert, if I'm correct, that at the end of August, that they would be finished with their work,
Yes.
and that it would probably take, what did he say, 3 weeks before Arlen's can
Yes.
restock? And
Basically, one of the things that he commented on was, under the terms of the lease, both Arlen's and I believe the Dollar Tree do not have to pay any rent during the time that they're closed. So he's definitely anxious to reopen again. And he projected that the work that's needed would be done on those two establishments by the end of August. And then they would need, this was just guesswork, but then it would go back and they could open, and it would take them about a week to open their establishments and would be back open.
And what about a mega grant?
That's what we were looking at, is kind of fashioning a mega grant on this, because again, I think the argument why we would do something like this is because they represent 14 different stores that are located in that business, and we could help them out. So we could, again, we're in uncharted territory a little bit, fashion that. Now, I would caution the board that we now have $41,000 to work with rather than $51,000.
And that's until October 1st, correct?
Until October 1st,
Okay.
yes. Now, we could also fashion an agreement where we did half now and half later, or whatever. I mean, we could, everything's wide open on that front. But I just want to note that for the remainder of this year, we have $41,000 left.
So did he have the money for the deductible, and we're just trying to help compensate that, or he does not have the money to proceed to do anything right now?
He had said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, he had said that this was going to happen one way or the other, but he was having a lot of trouble, and basically his expression was, I'm having to pay Peter, or Rob
Peter
Paul
to pay Paul?
Peter. Yeah.
Peter to pay Paul?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, while I would like to hear from him, I do think this is important, not just for the EDC, but the city, because, your other grocery store is, 5 miles down the road, Kroger, maybe. I mean, my biggest question would be, because when I was in, I think, maybe high school, I think we had Hurricane Ike, and that was when Kroger left Freeport because of the roof. And I remember hearing, through the grapevine, that they said it would cost more, it just wasn't worth it to fix the roof. So my only question to him would be like, why it hasn't been fixed since, Hurricane Ike, which was, maybe about 15 years ago. But I don't think getting an answer to that question is more important than the situation that's been presented to us. So for me, I mean, I would like I think the idea that I like most that's been tossed out is maybe doing half now and then waiting, just so we still have a little bit to work with if something else comes up, and then doing the other half after October 1st.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion. Does anybody else have anything?
I think Rachel had something to say. I don't mean to.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I just wanted to give some clarity on some of the documents that are here. So he spent 56,000. In the pack. I'm trying to get to it here. There's a receipt for. Here's the receipt here that he did, and then there's another receipt that's way up here that shows that he paid 56,277. So that's what he's put into it. Towards the end of the document, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth. Are the questions that Mr. Parker and Mr. Tyner asked. You'll see that they're handwritten notes that are typed up after that. And so the documents following that answer those questions that he had about his insurance, any loans that he has taken out. So if you have any of that information, that's attached after the handwritten document.
Thank you.
So does he get to apply for I mean, I don't know how that works for the business, like FEMA also, and like that other person mentioned the SBC or whatever,
SBA.
SBA, can
I'll
he
say
do that
this.
too?
FEMA is more for residential.
Residential,
There are some exceptions, but it's a very high bar, and it's typically loans. And so, yes, SBA is the more appropriate. I have encouraged him to make sure to visit with the SBA and, exhaust all options.
Additionally, with FEMA, a lot of times they are rising water only, not falling water.
Okay,
And I think that's the issue right now.
Oh,
with the
I
roof,
see.
because of the
falling
roof.
water Rather than the rising water.
Thank you
Well,
for
I'm
clarifying
good
that.
with trying to get this, I mean, not just the shop, to go somewhere to shop, but also the people that are employees, because I know a lot of people probably live in Freeport that work there, so I know that's probably hard that they're not working right now. I don't know how that's working, I don't know, but I agree too, maybe to do half, and then the rest after we start the new year, or our physical year for us anyway.
Which will be October 1st.
Yes.
What do you mean by half? Half of what? What amount?
Well, can we do
In my
that?
head, I was thinking half of the mega grant, which is $30,000.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I should have said, I just thought when she said half, I was like, oh, I didn't say half of what either. But, so 15 now and then
15 now
15
and
later.
15.
Couple of comments about that. I love that idea about that, and Ken and I had talked about that too, and we want to have a relationship with this guy, and I think we all realize that, the how important it is that we have that relationship with this guy, especially when he's leasing the property and all that, and I think that's a good step forward to do that. Not that I'm in favor of it. I was very disappointed that he didn't show up tonight. There was a couple of issues that Ken and I discussed. He's one of those kind of guys, well, I've given you, but when are we going to get, or when am I going to get, that sort of attitude? And that didn't sit with me well at all. But on the other hand, he's given everything we ask him. We ask him for gross revenues, we ask him for insurance, we ask him what his current business structure was, we asked him what loans he had outstanding, all of those kind of things that were very important. And we wanted to know, oh, thank you, was he vested in the community? Are we gonna give him this money and then he just walks? We don't want that. And I don't know how we can, maybe do something contractually about that if we do that. Just make sure that we take care of Freeport, if we give this dude some money.
Well, again, as we have discussed, we're in uncharted territory. We could structure this so that we could, and Lauren Shaken said yes, so that we could hold them to that. And I also, I'm just having this idea right now, or this thought right now. I think Ronnie made some excellent points about CAM and the lack thereof. Could there be some requirement that we say, okay, going in the future, you will collect this or structure this into your lease. I guess I'd ask Ronnie to if that's even feasible or something they could do, or would that assuage your concerns that you've had about this entity?
One of my biggest things is when he was here the first time, he told us only 2 people paid CAM, and the rest were all small businesses. Not quite true. The vape shop has over 200 locations. I'm a small business. I have 1 location. Snap Fitness has 521 locations. They're used to paying CAM. CAM is common maintenance. So that's the parking lot, that's the lights. My CAM is more expensive than my rent in Lake Jackson at my place. I pay more for parking lot and lights and stuff working for my customers than I do for the rent on the building. And that's all I would ask, is that if they're large companies, they're used to paying CAM. So I understand this mom and pops, I really do, because it's tough. But the bigger ones, he needs to fix his contract. Either he doesn't know how to run a business, a retail business like that, where he's a shopping center, or he needs a little direction. Because we shouldn't be picking up the tab for his, they know that's there. That's why the grocery store and the Dollar Tree or Dollar General are paying it, because they understand it.
Ron, I think, to get to your point, I don't want to be repairing the concrete and all that kind of mess. But if it's something to do with the roof,
That's different.
And if we can see the invoice and we pay the invoice, remember we talked about that? So now we're putting our money into something there. And yeah, I totally agree with that. Can we structure that somehow to do that? I don't know why we couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, all of our
Show
other
us an
grants-
invoice and we pay it.
Oh, like that, yeah.
Yeah, you could do it that way. Sure, we could put that in the contract.
Yeah.
But
Half
the payment
now,
will
half
go
later,
directly to the
take
roof
care of it.
company.
Up to a certain amount though, right?
Yeah.
With our grant, yeah.
I think the idea of the table was 15.
October 2nd.
Well, it sounds like we are ready for a motion. Would anybody like to make that motion for this grant for Four Corners?
I make a motion that we accept the grant proposal. We want to make it in 2 separate payouts. One will be within a certain amount of time frame. We want to be presented with an invoice of actual cost. I hope I'm saying this correctly. The second portion will be after October. And it will also be paid upon presentation of an invoice for a certain amount of money.
So we're paying, just to make sure I'm understanding, we're paying the invoice directly, in this fiscal year and the next after October 1st. What you didn't state is, and Josh had
The
mentioned
amount.
earlier, the amount, is that 15,000 for this year and I'm just basing it off of his.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm.
15,000 for each.
Is that right, Josh? That's right.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Just 1 second. These are the estimates and stuff like that, so that he submitted to us based on the work that's gonna be coming up. I know you said the invoices, but I wanted to let you know that he did submit those, and then he does already have 1 invoice, because we already allowed it to go back to July 10th.
Okay.
And so since he's already submitted that 1 invoice, would that be sufficient for us to send him a
Yes, ma'am.
payment?
Mhm.
So it would be based off of this invoice up here for the 56.
Yeah, so we could
This
pay
one.
15 on the 56, and then whatever else, or if maybe it's just still the 56, he can bring
Right.
that one back. And after the first, we could do that.
So we,
Hold on,
just
can
so
we
I'm,
get the second for this motion before we keep discussing and debating?
say that again?
Can we get a second
Oh.
before we continue?
I'll second it.
All right, no, debate and discussion.
So, just so I'm clear, we're allowing a reimbursement to him for the first fiscal year because he's already paid this 56,000. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, because
Okay.
we backtracked it to the 10th.
Right, that we did last meeting, we backtracked it to the 10th, the
Yeah,
date of the storm.
To get the storm damage, yeah. All right, well, is there any other debate or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion passed unanimously. All right, let's look at number 6, discuss the outcome of the in-person meeting with Retail Strategies.
Yes, Mr. President, I met with Madison Neal, both Rachel and I, and Anna met with Madison Neal and Megan Barisha is her new name. She just got married, and talked about retail strategies and what's going on. Made us aware of some new programs that they had as far as keeping track of realty and land, and we're working with them on that. We've also taken the step of scheduling a monthly meeting with them, a call-in. We had that meeting this morning. It was very brief. Basically, let me see some other notes. I was really concerned in asking them if there was anything that we need to do to redirect due to the storm. And basically, there's, aside from just keeping track of anything that closes and making them aware of here's where a closure is and this is what we might market, there's really not a lot they can do aside from that and assisting us with property and looking at property management as far as with the storm. But they are certainly aware of the challenges that we're experiencing with the storm. And also, they've done outreach on our behalf with outreach to Arlen's. I had reached out to Arlen's, just encouraging them to stay. And there's also another business that I reached out to. I can't call the name, but it's in Surfside and it's closing down. And I reached out to them, so helping us look at locations for that business. Also, they will attend what's known as Retail Live, and that's a industry, what do you call it, a trade show where they're going out and continuing conversations that they've had on our behalf, that many of those conversations were begun back in May in Las Vegas. They'll follow up on those conversations and give us a briefing on where those matters stand. There are challenges that we have in our region because of our demographic, and we're at the end of the line. We're trying to work through those challenges. And one more thing, it doesn't have to do with retail strategies, but I did get a hold of Taco Bell and Chad Motzinger, and they're not doing as well as Starbucks, but they're hanging on. And Chad and I talked about some ideas of what they could do. I recommended to them a lot more, and Ronnie's aware of this. I recommended to them a lot more community outreach. They had their grand opening, but then since then, they don't even, if I'm correct, don't even have a Facebook page or social media. And Chad was very happy to hear about that. And what he can do, and he's going to visit with his management team there about that issue.
Thank you, Robert. Oh, cheers. No, it's me too. All right, thank you. And that was just kind of, okay, I see, just discussion. All right. We'll move on to number 7, discuss the benefits of EDC memberships in the Hispanic and Brazosport Chamber of Commerce in 24-25.
Okay. In your packets is information. I reached out to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the different levels and services that they provide, and the same holds true for the regular Chamber of Commerce. And they had given a presentation to the city council on the services that they provide, but as an overarching thing, I think our membership is worth it just for the connections alone that we have, and the outreach that they provide, and the connections that you make through chamber events and through chamber functions. And I just think it's a very valuable thing that we're doing by keeping those memberships alive.
Well, just one thing only. It's the membership to the Brazosport Chamber is $250 a year. And actually, I think it's less than that because we're not for profit. It's $190. The deal is, every other month we can put an ad in their newsletter online that goes to everybody. If you put an ad in the paper that is 4 inches tall and 2 inches wide, it's $129 for one day. That, everything we do with Kid Fest and everything else, and Anna uses it, it goes out into the chamber into every single chamber member gets that every other month, and it's free. That alone would cost us thousands of dollars to advertise, just that. But it's also the connection. People look, I'm one of these people who I don't do business unless you're part of the chamber. I won't go to a restaurant unless you belong to the chamber. And the reason is, if you're not going to invest in the community, I'm not going to invest in you.
Mr. Johnson, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you feel that we, like, for instance, with the Brazosport Chamber, I know that they have various committees, and they encourage, their members, I guess, to participate on these committees. Do you feel that we are represented on those committees? I'm not sure exactly how much you participate with the chambers on the different committees, and do you feel that helps us to get business? So say, for instance, if there's a business coming into the area, and they go to the chamber and they was like, we want to put our business somewhere, where would you recommend? Do you feel that these chambers are recommending Freeport?
We do. We do have, I have participated not on their committees, but in functions. I attended the leadership function that they had. And also, I'm very involved with our Main Street, and by default, one of their chamber members, Edith, is on that board. And yeah, we're definitely first and foremost on her mind, working on business attraction, the endeavors that we're doing in the downtown. Again, I think that the relationship between both the Hispanic Chamber and the Brazosport Chamber is rich and fruitful. Any leads that they have, I know they don't hesitate to call. Now, of course, they represent more than Freeport, but certainly we get our share of looks and contacts through them.
So how much is the membership for the Hispanic Chamber? Is that what we're discussing?
Yeah,
Like,
is one of
I know,
them.
but we're looking at them different. Like, how much is the chamber for each one? Or
I believe they're both the same. I believe
Yes.
they're both $190 because they mirror each other.
oh, they
'Cause
are?
when I
I
checked
thought
about
the
me joining the
Hispanic Chamber was
Hispanic-
more.
I thought the
When I talked
Hispanic
about
Chamber-
joining Hispanic, they told me it was the same as my Brazosport Chamber.
How much is it?
As far as what we paid, do you have the?
I thought it was a lot more.
Paid at least $1,000.
Because
Yeah.
they sent the,
For the Hispanic?
Didn't we pay like $1,000 last
yeah,
year?
Did we
it
do
was
platinum?
more, we were at the,
They do like platinum and
I
all
want to
kinds
say
of.
we're at the silver level, which is $1,000.
Yeah.
The Brazosport don't do that.
No, that's Hispanic.
Yeah, the Hispanic Chamber has a different pricing structure, but we're at the, we're at the $1,000. If you remember, they came and presented to the board, and we chose, I want to say we went down in our membership.
I
Yeah,
think we did
did.
too.
They told us we were at either the 35 or the 2,000 level.
Right, and we went down.
And how, since they've left the city, how has been the relationship and her keeping in touch with you?
They have reached out,
But is it
you know,
different than, don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to see if there's been a difference from her leaving the city on keeping you involved.
That's hard to answer fairly because of the fact that literally we were separated by a door before. So if I'm honest, there was a heck of a lot more interaction, but it was because of our proximity. We literally went through that door and we were in the Hispanic Chamber's
Well,
office.
I do get that, but sometimes that's when you need to make the extra effort to keep that connection.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but
We have. I actually called Gina and reached out to her to be here tonight, and she had surgery, so she couldn't. So she made sure her assistant sent me this this material. Again, being honest, the nature of the relationship has changed because of our proximity, but I don't think they've forgotten about us. No.
What do you think we ought to do?
They've reached out to
You know,
us
go down to
multiple
500.
times over the last couple of months to have us project their events that are on our webpage, but also to make sure that they're sharing our stuff as well. So they check with us every couple of weeks to make sure that, hey, is there something going on that we might have missed? I get emails almost daily from them, so they are definitely in communication with us a lot. It's just a lot more email instead of face-to-face.
I know we are not making a motion on this tonight, but I mean, Rachel, can you scroll to the left, please, so we can see what they have checked off here? Thank you. So, social media. No, I got it. I mean, unless. Okay. Plaque, tickets, ribbon cutting. Okay.
I can't hear.
Sorry, Ms. Marshall. I'm just kind of reading to myself on the side of the microphone
Okay.
on this Hispanic. Well, actually, let me show. So, we are currently, Ms. Marshall, we're playing the plata level, which is silver in Spanish. And so that's $1,000 a year. And chamber directory listing, it says enhanced. Social media recognition is what we're getting with that. A plaque, a chamber member plaque, one booth at workshop, 4 tickets to the workshop, ribbon cutting ceremony, and then a booth at the Latin Festival, new member spotlight, and then 2 newsletter ads, and then cafe. Remember the breakfast business thing we did a while back, Ms. Marshall? We have 2 newsletter ads, or no, they'll host one of those for us, and then tickets for the annual gala, which would be 2 tickets. Now the community level, which is $500. That's we get the chamber directory listing, social media recognition, a member plaque, a booth at the workshop, 2 tickets to the workshop, and ribbon cutting.
So
And
right
for-
now, we're at bronze, is that what
We're
you?
at silver,
We're at silver. Okay.
and I would go down to green. I think that might be all we need. Just when we do a new business opens, they'll come down and
And ribbon cut.
will it be? Is that
That's the business joins, right?
They go to the business if the
if the
business joins. Yes,
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay, never mind.
We've had our one ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
But only 2 ads in the newspaper per year?
Yeah.
It's not monthly then? So we only get 2?
Yep.
And is the Brazos Support Chamber, I think Ronnie mentioned those ads we get, we don't pay for anything additional with the 190, what was that?
It's one,
One,
not-for-profits are 190 a year,
okay, yeah,
and you
Okay.
get 6 ads that are free.
okay, I see. Yeah, yeah, I mean, just me personally, I think we could probably afford to go down to the green level. And again, I know that it's not on here for any action, but that's,
I mean, do we even need action to go, no,
This isn't an action item.
right.
This is just a discussion.
Right.
But I mean, do we even need action to
change
reduce
our
our
level?
membership the next time we go? We can just do it.
oh, okay, that's
If you're
directive
directing
then?
me to go to the green level on the next renewal, I will.
Right, because the Brazosport Chamber doesn't run theirs this way. Theirs is, everybody gets the same thing, no matter what your price. If you're 190, you get what Dow Chemical gets.
Right.
Everyone's the same. I've actually never seen a chamber set something up like this, because it's based on how much money you want to give, how much you get back. That's usually not a way the chamber is. Chamber's about promotion and about helping your community grow, and that's not that.
I mean, the ironic thing is that the service that I'd outline the most is the relationship with the director and the, call-in basis. We get that regardless of what membership we are.
Okay, well, yeah.
Does the city, have membership with the Brazosport and the Hispanic chambers?
From what I know, yes. Yes, they do.
Do you know what the amounts are?
I do not know what level they're at, no. I mean, as Ronnie said, the Brazosport only has one level, but the Hispanic Chamber, I do not know what level they're at. But I do know that they're a member of the Hispanic Chamber.
Ken, how do you feel about going to the green level, moving to the green level?
Yes, that'll be fine with me.
Sandra, what do you think? Or maybe, is anybody opposed to moving down to the green level?
What are we doing?
I'd go further.
I was asking if anybody was opposed to us moving from the $1,000 a year silver level to the community level, which is $500 a year.
I'm not opposed.
All right, well, I guess this is a directive then. Okay. All right, well, it is time for number 5, 6, 7, board and executive director comments. Ms. Marshall, can you please start us off?
I don't know if I really have anything. I'm just glad that our business community is, getting back on their feet. I just wanted to thank Mr. Tyner for all of the information that he shared at the last meeting for our business community to, get back on their feet after the hurricane. So hopefully everybody has taken note of that, and for anyone who's listening, if you missed any of that information, please stop by our EDC offices, so that they can share that information with you. I just wanna remind everyone to continue to shop Freeport first, because our business community will be only as successful as we make them. And so we wanna make sure that we're supporting them, like they support our economy in a very big way. I wanted to ask Mr. Johnson, have you rescheduled the breakfast?
We have not rescheduled the breakfast. We're still working. The the Small Business Development Center is swamped right now, and so we haven't been able to reschedule that. We're working with them. We're in contact with them, but they're obviously very busy right now with the challenges that the storm has caused. And just on another note, the same holds true with the ribbon cutting for the parks. We're checking, at first I had gotten some information that the parks were not damaged, and then I got some information that perhaps there was one of the parks where some equipment was damaged, so we're getting to the bottom of that, and we're gonna reschedule that soon, for the ribbon cutting for the park. We just don't wanna be out there ribbon cutting with the equipment broken.
No, I don't have anything else. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Mark?
Thanks for Freeport.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Ken?
Yeah, I think our board is really, is really getting close, and what I mean by that is we are of one mind in agreements that we talk about in general. And Robert and Rachel is, my goodness, they have their plate full. And you guys have done tremendous over there. Appreciate you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Loisa?
I mean, I know this is for comments, but I don't know if it's also where I can ask a question per se.
Yeah, you can
And
say
then
whatever
it's
you
probably about the city, about city council may have the answer, but, so is there anything coming about for the old IBC bank? Because it looks bad. Is there anything coming from that? Can I ask that question? I don't know. Is that okay?
Is anything, what was your question?
Well, I mean, it's been vacant for a long time, and it's starting to already fall apart, and it's right there on the main strip. So, anybody looking at that property or anything? I know you may not be able to say a name, but,
And I can check into that. I haven't had any inquiries into that, but I can check into what the status is. Yeah, and I'll come back at the next meeting, brief you.
okay. And then there's another property that's been vacant forever, and it's on the main strip, and it's right there, that strip between where that vape place is and that restaurant. It's like been empty.
I'm not sure where you're talking
You
about.
know where I'm talking about? There's a empty spot where it's brick, but it's been empty forever, and I think it's in between that Mexican restaurant, Los Gallos.
The one
And-
where all the bricks are like just falling down since the storm?
Well, I don't
Or-
know. No, that's on the opposite side. It's
Oh,
on this
okay.
side, and I think it's right after that vape and the cell phone place.
In the Four Corners, is that what you're
No.
talking about?
Oh, the vape shop on this side.
No.
The one with like the little green.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's the windmill for the water, and then there's the vape place, and then they have that. And
Kinda by
right
General
past
Law.
there, there's like a big strip of
white
built.
building.
Yes, it's been empty forever.
It's falling
Who
apart
owns
now.
that? And
And
can
behind
we,
them, something's being
can we
built.
get, yes, can we get rid of that?
Talking about, but I don't even-
Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's,
Lance,
Here he
can help
comes.
me.
Here he comes.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but the old bank building, there's an issue.
IBC?
There's an issue with that lot because of the requirements of the TxDOT setback now. So if a new building was to come in there, because we've had some people call with interest into that building, but if they were to, the new setbacks for TxDOT, they can't build a new building there. So that piece of land's kind of in a bind right
It's
there.
worthless? Well, not worthless,
much.
but, really?
Yeah, because they'll have to do a lot of
So what did
stuff
TxDOT
to it.
do? What did they say? What did-
Whenever, for instance, the nutrition store that fell down.
Yes.
So when they rebuild, they won't be able to meet the new setbacks for TxDOT on that corner right there. So, if you tore that bank building down, anything new built there has to meet the setback requirements of TxDOT, and they won't meet them. So that piece of land right there is kind of in a bad situation right now. You'd have to move that road that runs in behind it and move that property back to.
Oh,
to
so
make
you're
it-
saying it's too close to the road?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So the road behind it, could we make it one way?
The road behind it, you could actually probably, if the right developer came in, abandon that portion of the road and move that back and make a different entrance in to areas to make that work. But it's just money-wise and investments that would have to be.
So who would be in charge of if you can't do anything to it, and there would be so much, somebody's gotta, I mean, it's just falling apart. We just leave it there until, because nobody's gonna.
It'll become a point to where, the inspections will be done on it to where it gets bad enough to where
We have
can
to take care of
issue
it.
to have it demolished if it's not corrected in a certain amount of time, but there's a process to it, but yeah, that piece of property is a pain right now.
Oh, my God.
The one on the other side.
What about the one I was talking about? Because that's been, I don't remember that, the last time that was ever used. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Which one?
There's the one with the new building going on right behind it. It's got the stuff.
My understanding is, are you talking about the one that's being built right now behind it?
Well, I would like to know what that is, but I want to know what's going to happen to that strip that's been empty forever.
That's in front of it on
Yes.
288. My understanding is the developer that's building that is going to be tearing that portion of the building down.
Oh,
Yeah.
so can we know what that is, or we can't know?
No. not
Okay,
now.
we can wait?
I've only asked them
Okay.
3 times, no one knows.
Hey, well, I don't care, as long as somebody's doing something now. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Made my day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
and,
for staying up all night with us.
oh, this isn't late. I would just like to thank those that watched and/or attended our meeting, and just encourage everyone. I know a lot of things are closed right now, but do your best to shop in town to support our community. Thank you. And Mr. Johnson, your report, your comments?
Oh, yes, just one quick one. Anna and I virtually met with Ian Kane, Dr. Ian Kane today, and in order to get the meeting with the city manager and the community visioning session completed, and then also to, a lot like with Gensler, digest that and modify the project as appropriate. They're pushing back the date. They're going to draft up something that the city will need to sign, because although we contributed, we were not signatories to the actual contract. But it's a no fee. There won't be any raising of fees. It's just basically a month extension to the contract, and that will give them time to finish the work. I mean, obviously there were delays caused by the hurricane, which caused scheduling delays, and we had to move where we're going to have the vision session and all that. So I wanted to report that, but it's not being pushed. I think it was, he said October 15th at the latest would be the new date for that.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'd like to thank everybody for staying with us on the long meeting, and everybody that I've been able to call. It has been challenging, but that I've been able to call and that has worked with me since the storm. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? All right, motion by Mark. Is there a second?
I will, second.
All right, motion by Mark, seconded by Ken. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passed unanimously. Meeting adjourned at 8:46 PM.